The honourable member for Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The NDP and the Liberals are patting themselves on the back for this fall economic update. They shouldn't. This is a fall update. Canadians are falling and the NDP-Liberal government is failing. Canadians are seeing their standards of living erode and the cost of living skyrocket because of inflation. If you want to get depressed, Mr. Speaker, go grocery shopping. Basic food costs are way up. Bread, apples, cereal up 17%, lettuce is up 21%, chicken 11%, cheese and bacon 10%, pasta is up 22%. And for those that want to cook from scratch because they're thinking they're going to save, well, flour is up 24%. The Abacus poll that came out earlier this month said that 50% of Canadians are finding it a lot more difficult and 38 a little more difficult. It's almost 9 out of 10 Canadians are feeling the impact of inflation at the grocery store. 1 in 5 Canadians are saying they're having to reduce meal sizes or meals altogether in order to save money. Mr. Speaker, this is Canada. More people are going to the food banks now than in history. 1.5 million in October alone. And I know that this has been repeated with a number of speakers, but I think we can't just accept this. Oh, this is just another statistic. These are Canadians that are facing tremendous difficulty. Talked with our local food bank where I live in Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge, and they said they've never seen anything like it. The Liberals just shrug their shoulders and don't take responsibility for this mess. They blame it on the Ukraine, upon COVID, anything but themselves. But the federal policies on inflation, this is what, again, going back to polls, said that 56% of their Liberals' policies are making things worse, with only 7% that said it's helped. And the summary of the Abacus poll is this right here. Inflation is making life difficult for millions and is the #1 political issue in Canada. The biggest impacts are felt in food, but millions are finding it difficult to cope with their energy and housing costs. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of inflation, Liberals are like a deer caught in the headlights, stunned and dangerous. I've seen deer sometimes in traffic, and they can bounce around anywhere. And what we're seeing is the Liberals making poor decisions that are causing a serious accident with inside of Canada. And I wish I could just say it was accident. Let me explain. They printed hundreds of billions of dollars. They put it into the economy this past 3 years. And nearly half of that money that they pumped into the economy has had nothing to do with COVID. Money supply has increased by 25%. Now, what does that mean? It means that there's a lot more money around for the same amount of goods as there were just a few years ago. So that just makes everything more expensive. It's like Canadians have had a big pay cut. Now, they may not have seen the amount of dollars on their paycheck go down. Matter of fact, it might even gone up a little bit. But because the dollars don't go as far, it is essentially a significant pay cut. And it seems that the Liberals have seen this pandemic as a time to go silly on Canada's economy. And that's a nice way, Mr. Speaker, of saying stupid. The finance minister said, it's no big deal to print money, to borrow money. Hey, listen, it's 0.5%. It's only at 0.5%. Let's just borrow and borrow and borrow and spend and spend and spend. Well, in the past, they said it's going to be like this for years to come. Well, in the past few months, Mr. Speaker, it has gone up 750%. Yikes. That's how much interest rates have gone up, 750%. So now, trouble. Interest rates alone and what the deficit is going to cost as much as what the government is spending on health care. In this very dangerous time, we're seeing war in Ukraine and threats elsewhere. It's more than they spend on national defense, which is not a priority for them at all. I will say that. Very significant. Canadians are very concerned with energy costs to heat their homes, keep fuel in their cars so they can go to work, go to the supermarket, take their kids to sports. And 75% of Canadians say that this is an important issue. They are absolutely oblivious to our call to axe the carbon tax, which is will make everything more expensive and is making everything more expensive, from transportation and food costs to everything. Now, I must admit, it is very challenging for me, I'm sure my colleagues here, to listen to the Liberals brag, pontificate, about their plan to save the world by doubling home heating costs. They got a tax plan, not a climate change plan. I said double, I should have said triple. Liberals, their plan, what they just promote. Well, we're number 58 of 63 on the greenhouse reduction target. They haven't met any of their targets. It's ridiculous what they're doing. And yet it's full steam ahead towards the iceberg, Mr. Speaker. Full speed ahead. I live in Vancouver area, highest gas costs in North America. It's been up to $2.50 a liter. Something has to give. But the Liberals, they basically saying, have thou no fear. The Liberal government is here. We got bags full of money to scatter. Tremendous, great causes, each one of them. I think that what they put those in there for is really for talking points. To say, well, listen, we're helping this people and this people for the policies that the bad policies we actually brought in. They've lit a fire, an inflationary fire, and they're pretending they're trying to put it out. They've doubled the national debt. They recognize that inflation is not great for them politically. So what do, Mr. Speaker? They said, well, now, how are we going to take care of inflation? Let's ramp up the interest rates. And that is causing real problems for people that are renewing their mortgages. In Vancouver area, people with, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 mortgages are quite common. People are now going to be paying hundreds, thousands of dollars more a month and a year. And the Liberals, they're just saying we're going to invest. They keep on talking about investing. We're going to invest in this, invest in that, and we're going to put money in here and put money in that. I always hear that it's invest. Well, first of all, Mr. Speaker, it's not their money to invest. It's taxpayers' money. And secondly, it's not just how much you spend, it's how effective you are when you're spending. It shouldn't just go to more bureaucracy. We've had a lot more bureaucracy, a lot bigger bureaucracy with worse results. And it shouldn't be there just to pad their friends' wallets. Whether it be MP Frank Bellis with a $250 million contract for ventilators that who charged twice the amount, or whether it be the ArriveCan app. Now, just bringing this in right here, the finance minister writes a letter and says that they had a meeting with Schultz, Chancellor Schultz, to get to get them to buy hydrogen, Germany. Well, they didn't say anything about Schultz asking if they can get LNG here to Germany. There's a war happening. The Prime Minister said, oh, you know what, maybe or maybe not there's a business case. Actually, he didn't say maybe there is. He said not, basically assent. So what they do, they are now producing this. They are now building these LNG plants and getting the LNG from other countries. That could have been Canadian jobs, could have been money that could have gone to help healthcare, could have helped national defense, could have helped all the ways. And not only that, because they have put such a war on, they talk about a war on climate change, it's actually a war on the resource sector, which is meaning that our Canadian dollar is not as strong and Canadians cannot purchase as much as they used to be able to. Thank you.